knew exactly what was happening. But it was everybody and it was too much. And plus, they thought they were superior to me because they were lighter. How could a darky teach him anything? No, and they acted like that. Abdul Malik, you know, he got to a point, they would do little dumb stuff. I'm giving a lecture at the university and the fire alarm goes off because they don't want people to finish listening to me. And I know it ain't no fire, it ain't nothing happen. You know, and you see Irvine, all that stuff. I said, okay, it's fine with me. But I don't jump up and down and turn flips, but I know what's going on. I could look at y'all, I could look at the people, I could look at the environment, I could tell, oh, good. Just when I was getting ready to make the points, they pull the fire alarms. So they have to empty the building, and then when they come back, everybody's distracted.
Right.
Right, and you just give them salams. Okay, it's a Masjid turn. Okay. As I said, Abdul Malik went to jail one time for shooting his, or something, his stepfather. Because what is, okay, those are modern common tragedies. They don't exist in my life. They don't exist in my life. They exist in their life, and the generations now, all of that stuff is common. It wasn't common when I was coming up, and I was aware of what was going on in the neighborhood. It just wasn't stuff, like I said, when I was in prison, if you would have went to prison for, say, a 2-3-year-old girl or something, assaulting her, they would have killed you. They killed people for doing that. That was like, okay, that person is defenseless. You can't do that. You're not a man. This old time stuff. But you can't pick on a 2-3-year-old, 4-year-old girl, 5-year-old. You can't do that because they're defenseless. That was the morals when I was going to prison in the early days. Not in the later days, but in the early days. That was a rule. I'm telling you, everywhere I went, that was a rule. Okay. And then, those people there in Oakland, I was looking at it like life is whipping them enough for me to, like, I'm telling you this stuff now, and I never said it then, maybe a little bit here and there. But life was already whooping them so bad, there was no reason for me to put this stuff out. You know what I mean? I'm putting it out now because it's necessary. That we have to clean up all the past, and we have to straighten up so everybody know at what depth. And guess what? They got phones, they can go out there in Oakland and they can check. They don't have to check with each other because they know everything I'm saying is true. I wouldn't dare say anything that wasn't true. The healing that they needed was beyond my ability. Not that it was that far beyond my ability, but they didn't see that I had the ability to help them with that, and they were sneaky. They would pretend to be hiding stuff that I could see. Well, I just sit there and look, you could see it. But they wouldn't recognize, oh, that's not real. They don't see that. That's the way they was. So basically, they were crazy. Not because of their fault, but because of their school days environment. Because they come up in a time when those things that they were doing are absolutely common, and now it's worse. But they were all challenged, influenced by skin color, how your hands is made, all that. That was big. The kind of nose you had, oh my goodness. Hey man, they was down with that. And you know, like, was one person I couldn't add historical reality. That's why Mukhtar and Khadijah was influenced by that stuff bad. And because at our last conference we had right here, they came right up here and they said, well, we're going to get a better education. They had convinced them that they needed to go back to school and get education to improve themselves. But Mukhtar took our writings on management, on leadership, and they took him to, he was going to Alameda College, I think, you know, what they used to call a junior college. And his teacher told him, your leader wrote that stuff? He said, yeah. He said, you don't need to be here. This is what, because see, the writings at that time, first of all, it took all the principles of management. If the article was on management, it took all the principles on management. And remember, when you're first starting your career as a singer or whatever, you include first you building off what's already been done. Then the more you do, you get into your own sound. Yeah, now this is Rassan Roland Kirk. Right? That's what he do. You can hear it sound. But he wasn't like that at first. He did the first, so the same thing, you can read all our articles on leadership, on management. The first part of the article, especially the farther you go back, deals with the common principles of management, leadership, and all that. As you move toward the end of the article, you're incorporating my thoughts and my ideas and what I've learned from it. And the more articles you get, the more you be hearing my sound, my music, my representation. And this is normal. This is not abnormal. Okay. So about everything I was doing has been a success. And nobody else would do it. The Black History, Islamic Economic Enterprise Zone, East Oakland Enterprises. None of the other slick people did that, or they didn't do that. They wanted to get money for themselves. But we wanted to get money for everybody. So everybody would be, after I got over a certain period, I said, shoot, we can get money to everybody. And that's what we did. That's abnormal, that's different than other people do. They wanted to get more and more money, and if they caught you trying to get some money, they would all actually maybe try to slow you down from getting money, and there's a lot of it out there running around. That's the way the human beings thinks, because if you're popular and da-da-da-da-da, you may want that for yourself, but not for everybody else. But the hadith say, which was practical, love for your brother what you want for yourself. If you want wealth for yourself, well, want it for everybody else. I was doing that in Jahiliyyah. I didn't know it was an Islamic principle, but that's what we were doing. Hey, East Oakland Enterprises. Can you imagine black businesses and black homeowners in their early 20s and stuff like that? And you could see why the government had to we got to get rid of that nigga. Because he's implementing those things. And he has the money to do it. We got to break him. We got to run him off. We got to put him in prison. We got to get rid of him. Okay, if we come through that, how am I going to come through on the second go-round? Dealing with Islam now, and we learn all the etiquettes and realities of Islam. How are we going to do anything stupid like what they might do? If everybody got up and left here, they left because they wanted to go, not because anything I did. Them niggas picked up and walked on out and ain't coming back, right? And ain't got nothing to say, I mean, about Well, what did the Imam Musa do? I bet you can't find nothing that technically, well, he run off with my good friend and he stole my house. You can't say nothing like that, right? You can't say anything like, nigga fed you real good and if you needed something. You know, people get out of prison. When we had the money, the people come out of prison, they line up down there getting money from here, right? If we had it, we can't do it now, we will later on. But if we had it, come on by. Yeah, no, what you need. It was normal. Yeah. All that stuff is, anyway, you can see it. I'm gonna move toward, I look at my life it has been a success on all levels, and I look at this third stage, I feel like it's going to be pretty good. Okay. We talked about tragic Negroes, wannabes, self-historical confusion, that means confused about what's going on at that time, and confused about their own reality. I was never confused about what was going on. I just wasn't confused about it. In the early days, we were trying to figure out how we're going to get rid of this white man. And look at it. A lot had helped us with that. That we whooping his behind and having a good time at it. And ain't nothing happening. I mean, of course, everything is happening. They turn off your water and they do that. That ain't nothing. Compared to what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Yemen, in Lebanon, and everywhere else, we got it good. I'd be a crybaby if the white man I got in the car the other day and wouldn't even start. So what, walk? Right? You're not getting bombed and drugged down the street. You know what I mean? Okay. Beyond my help and abilities at that time, but we have here, white man uses all these weaknesses to his benefit. All the weaknesses that we have, we're not self-assured, we have, he uses that. So you can see why he could use Oakland. He could use Abdul Malik. They could use everybody. Because everybody has all of these things wrong with them. And as far as they know, there's no solution to them. So the white man comes along and say, you get with me, I'll give you authority. That's why you could see Abdul Malik, you could see Mukhtar now. The white man, it's like a police officer with a badge. When he's talking to you, he's talking to you from a hole in his heart or in his head or in his existence. And the white man had told him, I'm giving you the authority to do that. And he does it. And he'll shoot people. And he'll do all of that stuff, right? Because he's been given a badge, he's been given authority, and he has a hole in his head and a hole in his heart, and he don't have no, if he didn't have a hole in his head or a hole in his heart, he wouldn't do there's certain things, if you're fulfilled, you won't do them. If you have any humanity in you, you won't just shoot another nigga, bam, bam, and that's it, I shoot the man. I just shoot him. You know he's gonna die, because hell, you shoot him 10 or 12 times. How is it that nobody gets shot one time with the police? This is insanity. The one in Chicago, 19 times, I think. Black youth, they must have loaded it up. That's just a super automatic, right? Who would do that? You got to be trying to kill the man, because the kind of weapons they have now, bam, it hits you, it knocks you back and knocks you down. You know that there's nothing they can, why would you go on and let me put another 12 slugs in this nigga, right? Unless it's crazy. Crazy. Unfulfilled. The world that we're going to build, people won't do that. The world that we're looking to build, the people won't be that empty where they have to fill up their selves with bullets. You can't do nothing about it. That's why the people in Hollywood are so distraught. They got everything physically. They look like a perfect human specimen, right? Hell, they're movie stars. Well, why they all got psychiatrists? Nobody in Hollywood that I've heard of that don't have a psychiatrist. And they're committing suicide and they're filling themselves up with dope. Okay, if they look just like the beautiful person, if they got websites and millions of friends and they're still lonesome, how is it that everybody in America is lonesome today? They're lonely. And they got all these YouTubes and I don't know what they call them, but they got all that stuff. We got a big job. We got to help people that have everything, but the hole in their heart is not filled. We got to plug up that leak. That's our job. That's our job. We got to do that. And don't think we're alone. All the world, the youth today, they said, man, y'all are treating us bad, man. You leaving us this thing. I hear they got kids with $100,000
school debt.
I don't really believe it, but that's what I hear.
That's true.
And don't go to medical school where you got to be there 8 years. I've heard numbers like $200,000. Again, I don't believe that. That you start off your life in that much deficit. And inflation shooting up here, and it costs you that. Okay. In the old days, everybody would get together, give you a grub steak, help you get furniture, right? And send you off with a good sending off. We don't do that no more, because ain't nobody got nothing. And the United States is sitting there like a dummy and going broke. The U.S. is so broke that nobody else could get that broke that the U.S. is right now. Nobody, because see, you gotta, if you like me and you can only get so broke, you can only borrow so much money, right? So Nicaragua cannot get super duper broke, it can only get petty broke. Because ain't nobody gonna give it enough money, right? For it to get super broke, right? Okay, let me speed up. Tragic Negroes, we've talked about that. Tragic wannabes, self-historical confusion. It's just beyond, first of all, for you to help somebody, they got to feel like you have the ability. And if you have dark skin and round features, they just know in their heart, whatever that I need, you don't have it. Because the white man said you didn't have it. It don't matter what your heart is telling you. And then, the people, they're so sneaky that they don't want to say I have a problem. The problem is just they got it on their tag. Boy, you got a problem, and they wear it everywhere, and you can see it. Don't make no difference. They're not going to admit it. If you don't admit it, you can't fix it. You know. Oakland to this day full of tragic figures. Okay. Excuse me for putting this here, but I said my life is a success. Not only black is beautiful and all that, East Oakland Enterprises. But, you know, it's been fine. And it costs you also. People was telling me, all these famous people, even when I was overseas, I went overseas and I took a lot of money with me and I gave a lot of it to the Black Panther Party. At least that's what they say. I wouldn't do that. Hey, if I was you, I wouldn't do that. But they're doctors and they're this, that, and other. They're famous people. That's what I brought it for, was to give them. Maybe they could get a chance to do something with it. Right? They wouldn't do it. None of them, they wouldn't do what we do here. They don't. That was then. They definitely wouldn't do, except they look at it like a punishment. Oakland to this day is full of tragic figures. Okay. Them semi-unfair. Where do they fit? And then I'm not making fun of them, but a cast of clowns. Larry, Moe, Curly Joe. Tragic clowns. The curly-headed group, they're tragic. Oakland is a tragedy. They're all tragic figures. Everybody out there is tragic, you know. Well, everybody here is tragic too. But I'm not going to join their tragedy because they're tragic. I can't, if you don't want any help, well, ain't nothing I can do. I can't make you not be a racist, where since I got dark skin, I can't help you. You know. That's the way they school. When I call this school day, they that. You can see it. And it's not only, they teach that stuff.
Right. I'm a part of that generation.
Yeah, they look, yeah, you're right at that. That stuff is real. They do that. Brown paper bag, hell, I don't care nothing about y'all. Y'all having a party and a nigga can't come if he black. I don't want to be in there. Bump y'all. Be in there by yourself. All you niggas is up in there. Hey, I don't want to even go in there. Right? But hey man, the stuff they taught us to do to each other is uncivilized, it's unhuman.
Right.
You know, I'm happy who I am, that Allah allowed me to live through it, realize it. Like right now, nobody else probably would have put up with the stuff this long that they do. They would have said, well, I'm gonna get something for myself.